You're listening to a special edition of the Just Go Bike podcast. That's AKA Murph.
And that's AP. And this is the podcast where we talk about cycling just for the fun of it. With tales from all over the nation. Come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile.
On this special edition, we are going to provide you with daily tales from the trail as we ride our bikes across the state of Iowa as part of RAGBRAI.
Woohoo! And we apologize in advance for the volume. We are going to be podcasting live each episode.
Well, hey, Murph.
Hello, AP.
Well, it is a delight to be podcasting with you, quote-unquote, live from RAGBRAI 51.
Yes, and as we mentioned in the intro, you may hear some background noise, and actually we are broadcasting from our booth, so there's a chance that we're going to have some fans that'll pop by and hopefully yell good things, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've had anybody actually... Well, we have gotten in trouble a couple times where people think that, maybe we didn't talk about stuff that we should have, but overall, come on.
I mean, I would never lie to you, but I have been wrong many a time. So, look, that is fine. We're downtown in Atlantic right now. It's Atlantic Palooza, so if you hear any music in the background, that's why.
Yeah, it is. It's like a festival, which, being somebody who is not on the inside like you are as far as RAGBRAI goes, like to think that there are almost 100 of these little festivals, right? Because every pass-through town, every overnight town, I mean, it's amazing that you guys can pull this off.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thanks to them because they have done countless hours of hard work to get ready.
Oh, the volunteers? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the committee members.
Yes, absolutely.
We should give a shout out to Bailey from
Bailey
Atlanta.
and Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they work so hard, but each and every committee has done an amazing job, and we had agreed before doing this podcast not to go through each and every town because they all did really good.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean that, and I just appreciate them so much, and all through this week so far, it's only day 2, really, but this whole week I have just been thinking about how appreciative I am of those volunteers and their hard work, and how it's just such an honor to put on a festival for so many different people who come from all over the world and ride their bikes. Yeah. What a delight, what a privilege, and just so cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going through tiny, tiny towns, and like I'm thinking of Elliott this morning. I pull into the town, and you can't even really tell what's normally there because there's just bikers milling about everywhere, like long lines for coffee and pancakes, and everyone was just in a great mood. I mean, the weather does help, which I don't know if Matt Phippen, our ride director, is taking credit for the weather, but it has been beautiful.
It has been really, really perfect.
Should I knock on wood? Because I can't believe I just...
I think you just jinxed us.
I
for
know.
The rest of the
Oh,
week.
my gosh. I'm sorry, everyone.
Well,
but yeah.
Right.
So as everyone knows, or maybe not everybody knows, but I am lucky enough to be able on my bike. So I'm actually biking the route and taking photographs and helping AP with like social media. And then AP, you're not actually biking the entire route.
That's right.
Correct? Will
That's
you
correct.
explain why?
Yeah, and of course, sad face because I wish I was riding.
Right,
and
yeah.
Sort of the pre-ride is my consolation prize, and that I
Yep.
get to ride that whole thing. So I get to look at the route every once in a while and just remember how fun it was.
Yeah.
But my job on RAGBRAI during the week of RAGBRAI is to manage the social team, and that includes we have 2 professional videographers,
Yep.
and Merv,
Yep.
who we just collect every photo and video we possibly can of the ride, just to sort of document it, to share it with the world, to create memories. And so my job is to make sure that we cover everything, which we're ambitious. We like to cover as much as possible.
Right.
So there's a lot of coordinating to do and a lot of, oh, I missed that. Can you go back and get it?
Right.
And so I drive in a car along the route.
And the vehicle route is only meant to be in the overnight towns and the meat town.
Yes.
So for you, I know that you're very passionate about not ever crossing the route.
Right.
So you can't get to every single pass-through town.
That's right.
So me and then the other professional photographer, wait, I'm not a professional photographer, but me and a professional photographer are both on our bikes.
Yes.
And then you and the other person are in a car. So, we divide and conquer
That's right.
and hit all of them. But I need to tell the listeners that you do have a special something in the back of your car for just in case.
That's right. I have a little special passenger in my car. I get to ride one of Murph's bikes this week. It is so cool. It is very small for me, but
Yes.
I have raised the seat.
Yeah.
And I get to ride Murph's bright pink adventure bike, and it is so fun.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those bikes personally, so every day Murph keeps saying, you have to give that back.
Yes, I know. Yeah. But I do appreciate that I have 2 bikes on the route, that get to experience RAGBRAI.
Yeah. And it's kind of a long story how it happened, but essentially I'm riding the bike that Murph used to bag out to the ride. So
Yes.
it's a bike that can handle carrying luggage.
Yeah.
And then because of the hills, she took our own advice and is riding a lighter bike on
Yeah.
the hills.
Yes.
And we're carrying her luggage during this week because Murph's working.
Yes.
So that's how she came to end up having 2 bikes, and I didn't bring any of my own bikes.
Yes.
But yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to I have some, I don't know if it's controversial, but I have like some topics that I think are worth talking about from what I've seen on these first 2 days.
Okay.
And I don't want to get heated, okay?
All right, simmer down.
Even if we're not on the same page, I mean, let's just talk it out, and then listeners can, give
look,
us their opinion as well.
Listeners, form your own opinion.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so I'm riding my bike, right? We did about 40 miles today, 40 miles the first day. Tomorrow is 85, blah, blah, blah. But I found it so interesting that there are so many riders, as the field kind of spreads out, right? So it's not super crowded on the road, but so many riders that choose to ride almost on the center line. And so it's wide enough that there are plenty of bikers that have to go on the right to pass them or the left.
Yeah.
And my head, I think of when I'm in my car, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in the fast lane, I mean, I'm sure that people are like, what the hell is this lady doing in the fast lane? Like, if you're not going to go, if these people are going really slow on their bikes, it would feel more comfortable to me to be over to the right. So I don't know why they ride in the center line, but there were so many these last 2 days.
Yeah,
Like, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think perhaps they're just getting carried away with the ride. I mean, the scenery is beautiful. There's certainly people watching to be done.
Sure, yeah.
And it's hard to focus, and maybe they just don't think about it like being in a car.
Yeah.
If you're new to RAGBRAI, or maybe you're thinking about it like, well, if I'm in the middle, then I'm certainly going to be safe.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, that's where the big cracks are, and it's the opposite of safe to ride in the middle.
I literally, when I see somebody who's hovering on that, right, like inches from that center line, I'm like, if that turns into a crack, like I just can't stand it. I have to pedal past them.
Yeah, I can't look.
Because I don't want to look. And I also am not not everyone knows who I am. It's not like I can give friendly advice while I'm passing somebody, because I don't want to be, like have somebody take offense. Like if it's their first RAGBRAI, have fun. But there just seems like something that doesn't feel safe to me.
Yeah, when we say ride right as our safety program, it comes from the fact that you really should be riding as far to the right as is possible and appropriate for your speed.
Yeah.
So, just a reminder, that's what you should be doing. I'm not sure why you never can explain why
I
people
know,
do
you're
things
right.
they do,
Yeah.
but that's what you should be doing. And if you're getting dirty looks, it's maybe because you're riding too far to the left.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're, one of the fastest riders out there at the time, you should be on the left side of the road because you're passing people.
Yeah.
But if you're going, 9-10 miles an hour and just enjoying the day, it just seems like maybe you should ride for the right.
Enjoy it from the right side.
Yes. All right. I don't need to dwell anymore. It's just something I noticed all day today and yesterday, and I'm so intrigued by it.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe I wish I could ask people, I don't know, if you're out there listening to this and you have a super smart reason that people ride on the center line, like send us an email. So I would love to. We'll discuss it again.
Okay.
But, yeah. Okay. The other thing I thought was amazing was the volume of riders that were first timers.
Ooh.
And I think we spoke about it a couple episodes ago on the podcast about writing the word virgin on your calf.
Yeah.
And so I saw that like so many times. So it's either the fact that more people were writing it on their leg, or there are more first timers.
Yeah. It's one of those traditions that just never dies away. It's awesome. It's fun to see. I think it's really nice because it's fun and it's lighthearted, but it also helps people welcome newbies to the ride. It's a visible way to show that, hey, maybe if I'm not riding correctly, you should say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool, or say hi or be friendly, and it's just a really cool tradition.
Oh yeah, and you can tell. I feel it when either myself or somebody else who's riding by somebody has the virgin on their leg. like today I'd be like, oh, how's your second day of RAGBRAI going? And you could just feel the energy, like, oh my gosh, somebody's noticing and they care. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yep. A few tales from the trail that I thought were amazing, right? I'll start with today, and luckily you and I connected at this huge flag. I mean, it's like probably 2 stories tall. I don't know. It was huge.
A massive flag. And how this flag differs than sometimes they will hoist a flag over the route so you ride under it. This was at a turn on the route, so it was just a giant sort of wall framing the route.
Yeah.
And it was just a really cool photo op. So being on the media team, obviously, we loved it. And I stood there for some time taking people's pictures, taking my own pictures and videos. It was just really cool. And then the top it said, "Welcome to Lewis."
Yes, it was so cool. So obviously Lewis was the town.
Yeah.
So also in Lewis, there was, because I don't think you made it into the town, right?
I never made it past the flag.
Okay. So there was it wasn't really an obstacle course. It was more of like a little tiny racetrack with some barrels. And there were these bikes that had, like 2 riders, okay? So they sit side by side, and it almost looks like a tricycle.
Oh.
But based on the videos I took, it's almost impossible to pedal it, right? So I think that each person pedaling is at a different speed because they would start pedaling and then one of them would, like, the whole bike would turn right, then they'd be going backwards, and so it was hilarious.
That's
so
funny.
way to go, Lewis, for pulling together that obstacle course or whatever it was. It was so funny.
My tale from the trail today is from Griswold, where we went to the Cass County Historical Museum, and the woman who was welcoming people there said that they had filled 20 pages of their visitor's log with names, and a lot of them said it was because when we visited on pre-ride, we let people know that they needed signatures to help get their grants that they need for the museum.
Yeah.
And it meant so much to me that people listened and went and supported this really cool museum in Griswold.
I agree. Yeah. And if you're ever in Iowa, in this part of the state, go back there and go to that museum. It's like, I don't know, it's like it goes on forever. It's so cool. There's so many things to look at.
It has all sorts of the things that you might expect a museum to have, like old-timey outfits and a bank vault and, I don't know, all sorts of artifacts, but it also has little miniatures of all the different important buildings in the area.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's what really stands out to me, is making it different and more interesting than a lot of the other museums that I've seen locally. So I just wanted to give them a shout out again and just say thank you to everyone who listened and showed up there.
Yep. Okay, next tale from the trail, which I think that you will appreciate, were the volume of people that were addicted to farm animals. I mean, there was a goat that was very stubborn. It did not want to be in photographs. It probably had been hanging out with people all day.
Yeah.
But there was a long line of people waiting to get a photograph with a goat.
Oh, cool.
Same thing with pigs. There were puppies in one place. Like, all the animals. Like, it's amazing.
Speaking of puppies, I can see a dog right now that's wearing shoes. And it is just the cutest. And I've already mentioned it to Murph 3 or 4 times.
I know. He is cute. He's a
cute.
service dog, isn't he?
There are 2 dogs that they both wear in pair of shoes. So I mean, I have tried to get my dogs to wear shoes, and I just really respect someone who's been able to pull that off.
So we got dogs, we've got pigs, we've got goats, and farm equipment. I mean, there's a combine. I think it was at the corn booth. I can't remember what that's called.
Iowa corn,
yeah. So there was a combine that was all decorated, and it was just nonstop. People climbing on it to get a photograph. So, I mean, you and I we've lived in Iowa our whole lives. Like, cornfield, tractor, cool. But where I think people from other parts of the country are like, oh my God, it's a real tractor.
It was really cool. We saw there's a cool moment today where there was all the Team Bad Boy bikes leaned up against the tractor.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know Team Bad Boy, they ride with, like, one of them rides with a full bar.
One has a kitchen sink.
Yep.
Literal.
One has like a, just like a grill
umbrella.
On it. Yeah. So there's all sorts of different cool things, but their thing is that they carry a ridiculous amount of equipment with them.
Right, yeah.
And so that was really neat to see that, and you'll probably see that on social media later. When I have our cell reception.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap it up, one other thing that I think is amazing, excuse me, is that there is a guy with a RAGBRAI tag on that's running the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, running it.
And I thought my feet hurt.
It's unimaginable. He was running up a hill, and I was almost like waiting in line, right? So I'm pedaling, but I'm pedaling slow, and the lady in front of me was talking to him. So I was waiting until she pedaled away because I wanted to find out too.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not really running the whole thing? And he said, yes,
Wow.
I'm running the whole thing.
Did he say how long it takes him?
No,
Wow.
I didn't ask him that.
I
but
mean, well, if he ever shows up, sir, if you listen to this podcast, please come by the booth because I have so many questions to ask you.
well, and then a couple of guys that I was biking with after that, we were all like, oh my gosh, that guy's running. And I'm like, my question is, why?
Yeah.
But I bet you his question is, why are you guys biking across Iowa?
Yeah. I know. There's sort of that thing with the runners and the bikers where we don't necessarily understand each other.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, to wrap it up, I think that the last 2 days have been amazing, and it's so cool to know that we have 5 more. And I mean, we have to acknowledge all the fans that we have run into and have talked to us. Like, it's been nonstop and absolutely amazing.
It's so cool. And just, I love having the booth and getting to meet everyone because, sometimes it just seems like we're just talking into the void and I have no idea if what we're saying is helpful to people or not.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that's our goal.
Yeah.
But just to hear from people, to hear what you find useful and not useful, to call me out on the things that I've said that were wrong.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten that.
And there are some of those. But just to meet people from all across the country
Yeah.
and from different countries has been a real treat.
That's right. The Norway people last night.
We met some Norwegians. We met an Australian. We met someone from England. Just person after person, and it has just been so cool. So thank you to all of our fans.
Yeah.
And it's just real fun to get to meet you and see you out there.
Yeah.
So please don't hesitate to say hi. Actually, we had some fans come up today who said that people thought they were us because one of them's really tall and one's really short.
Yeah.
So, sure, we pretend to be us. That's fine.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this podcast, whenever you're listening to it, and you're like, I want to be on there, or I want to tell my story, we're definitely going to do like we did last year, where we're going to have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 post-ride episodes where we interview people who want to share whatever experience they have. Like, I hope that we can find those newlyweds.
Yeah.
We've seen them every day, and they're still happy, by the way, if you've listened
They're
to their
still happy.
episode.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can find them afterwards, and they can tell us exciting stuff.
Hopefully they're still married.
Yeah, they're on a tandem, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, and if you have a burning desire to be on the podcast, a cool story, an unforgettable story, you can email us right this very minute at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, we'll probably have some other instructions for you, but
Yeah.
on how to get a hold of us. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page. So
And you can also email us to tell us if we're doing a great job, or if you want to call us out, out.
Hey, we take constructive criticism.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I can't wait. This is only just the beginning of the ride. Looking forward to the rest of the week. And until then, I say people should just go bike.
Wait, let's do it again.
Just go bike.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We both want to thank you for tuning in to listen to this special edition of Just Go Bike Podcast.
And if you would like to contact us with a comment about the podcast, or maybe you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan.
Okay, that's a wrap. We'll be back soon. Until then, just go bike!